It was a quiet night on Earth when the transmission came through, shattering the peaceful silence. It wasn't just a routine signal or a distress call, it was a warning. The message, encrypted and strange, came from deep space, sent by a ship unlike anything humanity had ever seen. A massive shadow appeared in Earth's sky. It was the Vrexian Expanse, an alien ship of unimaginable size, hovering just beyond the atmosphere. It wasn't like the sleek vessels Earth had encountered before. This ship had a dark, ominous presence, as if it belonged to a race older and more dangerous than anything Earth had ever imagined. "We have come for your blood." A cold shiver ran through every human watching the sky. What did it mean? Why was an alien empire demanding something as strange as human blood? The entire world held its breath. Governments scrambled to understand the message, while the global defense networks were put on high alert. No one knew it at the time, but that single line marked the beginning of humanity's fight for survival. Earth was about to become the center of an intergalactic battle for a resource more precious than anything anyone could have imagined. In the heart of Earth's defense headquarters, Captain Alex Hunter stood staring at the images of the Vrexian ship transmitted from the Earth's satellites. He wasn't just a soldier, he was Earth's strongest leader, a tactical genius who had seen it all. Alex had led successful missions against alien invaders before, but this was something different. Something terrifying. He wasn't alone in his concern. The entire human race had been shaken by this appearance. Military forces from every corner of Earth had mobilized, ready to defend their planet against the unknown. But Alex knew something deeper was at stake. This wasn't just an invasion, it was a demand for something. What do they want with our blood? Alex muttered under his breath as he studied the data. He was joined by Lieutenant Bonner, his trusted second-in-command, and Dr. Ilara Steele, Earth's foremost expert on alien biology. Together, they pieced together the pieces of the puzzle. They discovered that the Vrexians weren't the only ones interested in human blood. No, other alien races were already trading it in secret. Blood from Earth was being sold across the galaxy at astronomical prices, but the reasons behind it were unclear. "I'll be damned," Bonner whispered as he looked at the intergalactic trade routes. "There's a whole black market for human blood?" "Yes," Dr. Steele confirmed, "and not just any blood. There's something in our blood that other species can't get anywhere else. We don't fully understand what it is yet, but they do." As Alex's team dug deeper, they found more unsettling news. Various alien empires had been seeking human blood for years, but only recently had they begun to make public threats to secure a constant supply. Alex had to act fast, but what was the real reason for this demand? What was so special about human blood? The investigation took a horrifying turn when Alex received a transmission about a recently crashed Vrexian ship. It was an old warship, abandoned for years, but it had crash-landed on the moon, and the crew had perished long ago. Alex saw this as an opportunity to learn more about the Vrexians. A small team was sent to the crash site to recover any useful information. The team boarded the ship with caution, making sure to avoid any possible dangers or traps left by the Vrexians. As they searched the wreckage, they discovered something that made their blood run cold. Hidden within the ship's vault, they found extensive research data, alien studies on human physiology. It was clear that the Vrexians had been studying Earth's people for a long time. But the most shocking discovery came when Alex's team uncovered a set of biological samples. In these samples, they found the enzyme that had eluded the aliens for centuries. Dr. Steele's voice trembled when she spoke. "Alex, this enzyme, it's like nothing we've ever seen. It enhances the physical and mental abilities of the Vrexians. This enzyme, it's the key to their immortality." Alex's eyes widened. The truth hit him like a punch to the gut. Human blood contained a rare enzyme that allowed alien species, particularly the Vrexians, to unlock immense power. The enzyme was capable of rejuvenating the old, healing the sick, and extending the lifespan of alien races that had otherwise reached their biological limit. This wasn't just about blood, it was about survival for these ancient alien species. The Vrexians had discovered this secret long ago, and now they were desperate to acquire more. Their empire had been decaying for centuries, and the only thing that could save them was human blood. Alex felt a cold sweat run down his back as he realized the true stakes. It wasn't just about resources or wealth anymore. The very survival of these alien species depended on humanity. But the deeper he dug into the files, the more dangerous things became. The Vrexians had already begun to plan their next move. Earth was their next target. "They're coming," Alex whispered, his voice filled with dread. "The invasion is inevitable. They will stop at nothing to take us." The team rushed back to Earth, carrying the data with them. They had only a limited time before the Vrexians launched their invasion. As they entered Earth's atmosphere, a massive fleet of alien warships appeared in the distance. The sky was filled with incoming ships, their weapons aimed straight at Earth. The Vrexians' message had been clear: "We have come for your blood." But now, Earth had a new enemy. The clock was ticking, and every second brought humanity closer to the brink of annihilation. Alex and his team were tasked with leading the fight against the alien empire. But the question still lingered: how could humanity fight back against an empire so much more powerful? What hope did they have against the alien races that wanted to harvest their blood? As Alex prepared to lead the charge, he knew one thing for sure: this was the fight of a lifetime. The fate of humanity was hanging by a thread, and the only way out was to face the Vrexians head-on. But what was waiting for them when the battle began? Would the strength of the human spirit be enough to turn the tide, or would the galaxy's deadliest forces wipe them out? The Vrexians were coming, and humanity's survival depended on the secrets they had just uncovered. The battle for Earth had begun. As Captain Alex Hunter and his team delved deeper into the data from the Vrexian ship, they uncovered a chilling truth. The Vrexians were once the rulers of the galaxy, feared and revered by countless alien civilizations. Their empire stretched across the stars, with vast fleets, powerful weapons, and technological advancements that put every other species to shame. But there was a catch. An unsettling secret that lay hidden beneath their grand facade. The Vrexians' power, the very force that had allowed them to dominate the galaxy for so long, was fading. Over the centuries, their life-extending serum, a substance that had kept their species alive for millennia, was beginning to deteriorate. The Vrexians were dying out. Their once immortal empire was crumbling, and there was no hope for their future unless they found a new source of life. That's when they discovered human blood. The enzyme found in human blood was the missing link the Vrexians had been searching for. It held the key to restoring their vitality and granting them immortality once more. Not only did the enzyme reverse the aging process, but it also enhanced their physical abilities, strength, speed, and even psychic powers. The Vrexians quickly realized that humanity's blood was the galaxy's most valuable substance, and they were willing to do whatever it took to harvest it. But this discovery came with a price. The Vrexians were not alone in their desire for human blood. As Alex and his team continued to investigate, they uncovered even more terrifying revelations. Other powerful alien factions, sensing an opportunity, had begun to align themselves with the Vrexians, all vying for control of Earth's blood. These factions, once at odds with the Vrexians, were now united by a common goal: the exploitation of humanity. As Alex stood before the holographic display, staring at the intergalactic political map, his heart sank. Alien empires, some known, others unknown, were making moves toward Earth. The galaxy was on the brink of war. And Earth, once considered a mere backwater, was now the most contested planet in existence. Amid the rising tension and the mounting threat of invasion, a new member joined Alex's team, Lyra, a fierce and determined alien from the Zenthari species. The Zenthari had been under the oppressive rule of the Vrexians for centuries, and Lyra was a product of that brutal regime. Her people had suffered greatly at the hands of the Vrexians, who had used them as laborers, soldiers, and even test subjects. Lyra knew the Vrexians better than anyone, and she had crucial knowledge that could help Earth in the fight for survival. Lyra was unlike any alien Alex had ever met. She was beautiful, with deep violet skin and striking silver eyes that reflected the wisdom and sorrow of her people. But there was more to her than just her physical appearance. Lyra had a fierce sense of independence and a deep-seated hatred for the Vrexians. She was determined to see them brought to justice, but her mission now aligned with Alex's, to protect humanity from the very empire that had enslaved her people. In the midst of their shared mission, a bond began to form between Alex and Lyra. It was a bond born out of necessity, but also one built on mutual respect and understanding. Despite their differences, they found common ground in their desire to protect Earth and fight against the oppressive forces that sought to control it. As they spent more time together, their connection deepened, and what started as a partnership evolved into something more, a growing attraction neither of them had anticipated. But their relationship was not without its complications. Alex was human, and Lyra was an alien, two species with different ways of life, cultures, and moral codes. They both knew the risks of their bond, especially with the stakes so high. The exploitation of humanity for its blood was something that troubled them both deeply. As their feelings for each other grew, so did the ethical dilemma they faced. Could they love each other knowing that the blood of their people would be the key to the survival of the Vrexian Empire? Lyra struggled with this. The Vrexians had used her people for centuries, and she couldn't bear the thought of humans suffering the same fate. Yet, in Alex's eyes, she saw the pain of a leader who would do anything to protect his planet and his people. Their relationship became a delicate balancing act, one where they had to reconcile their personal feelings with their shared mission. Just when Alex and Lyra thought they had uncovered all the secrets behind the Vrexians' interest in human blood, a horrifying twist emerged. Lyra, using her insider knowledge, revealed something even more terrifying. The Vrexians had perfected a weapon, one that could make them unstoppable. It wasn't a conventional weapon, like missiles or lasers. No, this was something far more dangerous, an AI-controlled army. But this army wasn't just any army. It was designed to thrive on the power of human blood. The Vrexians had developed an army of machines and bio-enhanced soldiers, powered by the same enzyme they sought from humanity's blood. These creatures, imbued with the strength and abilities of humans, could fight indefinitely and heal instantly, becoming stronger with each drop of blood they consumed. The true horror of this weapon lay in its potential. The AI army could erase entire civilizations from existence. It would absorb everything in its path, destroying cities, wiping out populations, and rendering entire planets barren. With the power of human blood fueling their forces, the Vrexians could wipe out any resistance, crush entire worlds, and bend the galaxy to their will. Lyra's voice trembled as she spoke of the weapon's capabilities. They've already deployed it. It's only a matter of time before they launch their attack. They won't just invade Earth, they'll obliterate everything in their path. Alex's heart raced as the gravity of the situation settled in. The Vrexians weren't just coming for human blood, they were coming to use humanity as the fuel to power a machine of destruction unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The galaxy's fate was in the hands of a few brave souls who had to fight not just for Earth's survival, but for the survival of all sentient life. As the countdown to the Vrexian assault began, Alex, Lyra, and the rest of their team prepared for a battle unlike any they had faced before. The stakes were higher than ever, and the enemy they faced was unlike any they had ever encountered. But Alex knew one thing for sure: if they didn't stop the Vrexians now, the entire galaxy would fall. The battle for survival had just begun. As the days passed, the pressure on Earth's defense forces mounted. Alex Hunter, the once calm and collected leader of Earth's military, now found himself thrust into the heart of humanity's survival. The Vrexian fleet loomed large in orbit, and the galaxy's powerhouses were aligning against them, bent on harvesting human blood for their own gain. It was a terrifying reality for Alex and his team, but it was also a call to action. Alex knew that Earth alone could not stand against the overwhelming might of the Vrexians. In the face of this existential threat, he took it upon himself to rally the galaxy's neutral factions. Across countless star systems, factions that had long remained outside the Vrexian Empire's reach watched in horror as the events unfolded. These factions, while not friendly, shared a common enemy in the Vrexians and recognized the danger that humanity faced. One such faction was the Zenthari, the very species to which Lyra belonged. Their long history of oppression under the Vrexians had left them bitter, with an unyielding desire for revenge. Earth's leaders saw this as an opportunity, and Lyra's role in uniting their forces became crucial. The Zenthari, despite their bitterness, agreed to help humanity, but not out of kindness, rather, a shared hatred for their former Vrexian overlords. In response, Earth's scientists worked tirelessly under immense pressure. Time was against them, and every passing day brought them closer to the Vrexian assault. The key to their survival lay in cloaking technology, something that could hide Earth's fleets from the Vrexian detection systems. These systems were so advanced that a direct confrontation with the Vrexians was almost certain to end in disaster. But with cloaking technology, humanity might just stand a chance of survival. It was a race against time, and the tension was palpable as Earth's brightest minds scrambled to develop the technology in secret, knowing the consequences of failure. Despite the efforts to level the playing field, Earth remained vastly outmatched. The Vrexians had superior technology, armies, and resources. Their fleet stretched across the galaxy, and their AI-controlled weapons gave them the edge in every battle. But Alex and his allies were undeterred. They would fight with everything they had, knowing that if they failed, the consequences would be catastrophic not only for Earth but for all sentient beings in the galaxy. The time had come to take the fight to the Vrexians. A critical mission was set into motion. A small elite group of human soldiers would infiltrate a Vrexian blood harvesting supply station. The Vrexians had set up multiple facilities across the galaxy to gather human blood, and Alex knew that destroying one of them could cripple their operation. The mission was dangerous, and the risks were high. Alex and his team, along with a few Zenthari fighters, snuck aboard the Vrexian station using the newly developed cloaking technology. They made their way through the facility's maze-like corridors, each step bringing them closer to the heart of the operation. The stakes were high, and every move had to be calculated. But as they reached the central blood storage tanks, everything went wrong. Suddenly, the cloaking technology malfunctioned, revealing their position to the Vrexian security systems. The silence was shattered by the whirring of mechanical limbs and the clang of metal footsteps. Vrexian AI-controlled robots swarmed the area, their glowing red eyes scanning for the intruders. What started as a covert mission quickly escalated into a brutal close-quarters combat sequence. Alex's team fought valiantly, using every ounce of training and strategy to survive. The Vrexian robots were fast, strong, and nearly indestructible, programmed to fight with ruthless efficiency. The human soldiers engaged in a deadly standoff, using everything they had to destroy the machines and sabotage the blood storage tanks. Laser fire cut through the air, and explosions rocked the station as Alex led the charge. It was chaos. The robots were relentless, their armor almost impervious to human weapons. But the human soldiers were determined, fighting with a passion fueled by the knowledge that every moment they delayed the Vrexian blood harvest brought them one step closer to victory. Just as Alex's team thought they had secured the facility, the Vrexian fighters arrived. These bio-enhanced warriors, capable of telepathic communication and superhuman strength, attacked with ferocity. The battlefield became a blur of motion as Alex's team struggled to hold their ground. It wasn't just a fight for survival anymore, it was a fight for the fate of Earth. As the battle raged on, the emotional toll on Alex's team became evident. The fight was brutal, and the cost was steep. Alex's closest friend, Bonner, a seasoned soldier with years of experience, was fighting by his side. They had been through countless battles together, and Bonner had become more than just a comrade, he was a brother in arms. Their bond was forged in the heat of battle, and Bonner's quick thinking had saved Alex's life more times than he could count. But this time, the battle took a deadly turn. As Alex fought back-to-back with his team, he heard a scream, a cry that chilled him to the bone. Turning, he saw Bonner, a Vrexian fighter's blade piercing his chest. Time seemed to slow as Bonner staggered, his face a mixture of shock and pain. Alex rushed to his side, but it was too late. Bonner's lifeless body collapsed into his arms, the fight leaving him for good. The loss of Bonner hit Alex hard, a blow that shattered his resolve for a moment. His closest friend, the one who had stood by him through it all, was gone. It was a painful reminder of the stakes they faced. This wasn't just a war for survival, it was personal. Every life lost made the battle that much more meaningful. As Bonner's body was carried away, Alex's heart hardened. The grief he felt turned into something much stronger, a burning rage that surged through him like wildfire. He could feel Bonner's spirit urging him forward, pushing him to fight harder, to take the fight to the Vrexians and make them pay for what they had done. For Bonner. For Earth. Alex muttered under his breath as he prepared for the next wave of enemies. His team rallied around him, and with renewed determination, they pushed forward, knowing that the only way to honor their fallen comrade was to win. The battle wasn't over, it had just begun. And Alex was ready to see it through, no matter the cost. The stakes were higher than ever. The Vrexians may have claimed one life, but they would not take any more. The fight for Earth's survival had taken on a new urgency, and Alex knew there was no turning back. It was now or never. The human resistance would not be broken, the galaxy was on the brink of war. For weeks, Earth's defense forces had prepared for the inevitable confrontation with the Vrexians, knowing that their enemies' plans would soon come to fruition. Now, that moment had arrived. The Vrexian fleet, a massive armada of warships, dropped out of warp speed and entered Earth's orbit with terrifying precision. The Vrexians, armed with the devastating AI-controlled superweapon powered by human blood, were ready to destroy everything in their path. Alex Hunter stood at the helm of Earth's military command center, staring out at the stars, his mind racing. The Vrexians had come for Earth's blood, and now they were here to wipe out humanity once and for all. This was not just an invasion, it was an extermination. Their superweapon, capable of eradicating entire cities, was poised to unleash chaos on the planet. "We don't have much time," Alex said, his voice grim as he turned to his team. His mind was already calculating the impossible odds. Earth was vastly outmatched. The Vrexians had superior firepower, numbers, and technology, including an AI that could wipe out entire fleets. But Alex wasn't one to give up. He had seen humanity overcome the impossible before, and he knew that if anyone could turn the tide, it was the people of Earth. Beside him stood Lyra, the Zenthari warrior who had become his most trusted ally. Her people had suffered under the Vrexian Empire for centuries, and now, she had made it her mission to help Earth defeat them. Together, Alex and Lyra had formed a bond forged through battle and shared purpose. But now, as the countdown to the final invasion began, their relationship was tested like never before. Alex and Lyra quickly devised a daring strategy. The Vrexian mothership, the heart of their invasion fleet, had to be destroyed. It was a massive, heavily armored ship, the size of a small moon, and its AI superweapon was linked directly to its core. If they could disable the mothership, they might be able to cripple the Vrexian invasion and give humanity a fighting chance. But the plan was risky. The Vrexians were already launching waves of smaller warships to destroy Earth's defenses. The clock was ticking, and every minute that passed brought them closer to the end of humanity's reign. The battle for Earth began in earnest as the Vrexian warships descended from the stars. Their massive forms were shadowed by the darkness of space, casting a grim pall over Earth's surface. The Vrexians launched a devastating barrage of plasma missiles, bombarding Earth's cities, leaving destruction in their wake. Humanity's resistance, though valiant, seemed no match for the sheer power of the Vrexian fleet. In the chaos, Alex and his team made their move. They had gathered a ragtag fleet of Earth's ships, modified and upgraded with the latest cloaking technology in advanced weaponry. This fleet was small, but it was determined. Alex, with Lyra by his side, led the charge into the heart of the Vrexian armada. The human fleet moved swiftly, cloaked and unseen, using the cover of darkness to get close to the Vrexian mothership. Alex's heart pounded in his chest as he watched the enemy ships fly past, unaware of their presence. The tension was unbearable. Every second could be their last. "On my signal, we strike," Alex commanded. His voice was steady, but inside, he knew that this could be their only chance. If they failed, Earth was lost. The moment arrived, and with a single command, Alex sent his fleet charging toward the mothership. Laser beams and plasma fire erupted from the cloaked ships, lighting up the darkness of space. Alex's ships fought back fiercely, using their advanced weaponry to pierce through the Vrexian defenses. The battle was intense, each ship felt the full fury of the Vrexian onslaught as explosions rocked the vastness of space. But the humans fought with everything they had, knowing that if they didn't succeed, Earth would fall. But just as Alex thought they might have a chance, a terrifying new threat emerged. The AI superweapon activated. The Vrexians had prepared for this moment, and the weapon was designed to be unstoppable. It unleashed a storm of energy that tore through Earth's atmosphere, sending shockwaves of destruction to the surface. The superweapon's power surged, targeting major cities, causing chaos and devastation everywhere it struck. In an instant, the world seemed to be on the brink of collapse. The superweapon was capable of erasing entire civilizations, and Earth was its next target. Humanity was on the verge of extinction, and Alex knew that the only way to stop it was to destroy the mothership, the source of the weapon's power. "Lyra, we have to take out the mothership now." Alex shouted over the comms, his voice sharp with urgency. Lyra, her face set in determination, nodded. "I'm with you, Alex. Let's finish this." The space battle raged on around them as Alex and his team made a final push toward the mothership. In the midst of the chaos, Lyra's expertise and intimate knowledge of Vrexian tactics proved invaluable. She coordinated the attack, directing the human fleet toward weak points in the mothership's armor. The Vrexians fought back with relentless force, but the humans were determined, they couldn't afford to fail. As the battle reached its climax, Alex and Lyra found themselves alone in the heart of the conflict. Their bond, forged in the fires of war, had only grown stronger. But now, they faced a difficult decision. In addition to their mission to destroy the Vrexian mothership, Earth had developed a secret weapon, a prototype device capable of disabling the Vrexian AI. It was the key to stopping the superweapon, but it came with a catch: the device required a sacrifice. A life would have to be given in exchange for its activation, and Alex knew that one of them would have to make that sacrifice. Lyra, sensing Alex's internal struggle, reached out to him. "You know what we must do," she said softly, her voice filled with emotion. "We both knew this was the price. One of us must make the ultimate sacrifice to save humanity." Alex looked at Lyra, his heart torn. He couldn't bear the thought of losing her, yet he knew that without this sacrifice, humanity wouldn't survive. The weight of the decision was unbearable. As the battle raged around them, Alex and Lyra made a pact. They would both fight until the end, knowing that they might not survive. But one thing was certain: they would not let Earth fall, not without giving everything they had. The stakes couldn't be higher. In the midst of the raging battle, the fate of humanity rested in their hands. They would either succeed or fall, but Alex and Lyra knew one thing: they would face it together. The final battle had arrived. After weeks of relentless fighting and sacrifices, Alex and his team were now standing at the doorstep of their greatest challenge. The Vrexian mothership, the heart of the enemy's invasion, loomed in front of them like a dark titan in space. This was it, their last chance to save Earth. The Vrexian fleet was in full force, but this time, the humans had a secret weapon: the courage and determination to fight against impossible odds. Alex stood at the helm of his ship, staring at the enormous mothership. He knew the mission was perilous. The Vrexian's AI superweapon was housed deep within the mothership's core, and they had to get there before it unleashed its full power. His team of soldiers, scientists, and rebels, a diverse group bound by the desire to protect humanity, were ready. They had all faced death countless times, but this time, they were fighting for the future of the entire galaxy. "On my signal," Alex said, his voice steady and commanding, "we board the mothership. We take out that superweapon or we die trying." Lyra, standing next to him, nodded silently, determination in her eyes. They both knew the stakes. They had already lost so much, but they weren't going to let humanity go down without a fight. The humans, using advanced cloaking technology, silently infiltrated the mothership. As they moved deeper into the ship, the eerie silence was broken by the sound of heavy footsteps. The Vrexian soldiers were everywhere, their cold, metallic eyes scanning the hallways. But Alex and his team were ready. They fought their way through wave after wave of Vrexian forces and AI-controlled robots that seemed to be everywhere. Every step was a struggle, but their determination was unwavering. Through narrow corridors and over wreckage, they finally reached the heart of the mothership. There, surrounded by a pulsating glow, was the core of the AI superweapon, a massive structure, its surface slick with the remnants of human blood that powered its destructive force. The sight was both horrific and surreal. The weapon, if activated, could wipe out entire planets with ease. It was powered by the very thing the Vrexians wanted to harvest, human blood. But there was no time for hesitation. The Vrexian commander had seen them coming and ordered all forces to converge on their position. As Alex's team began to make their way to the central console to shut down the weapon, an alarm blared throughout the ship, signaling the beginning of the final confrontation. The Vrexian forces flooded into the room, an unrelenting wave of soldiers and machines. The humans fought back with everything they had. Alex was in the thick of the battle, his fists flying as he punched his way through enemies, but there were too many. The Vrexians were relentless, and soon, it was clear that the team was being overwhelmed. In the chaos, Lyra's voice cut through the noise. "Alex! Go," she shouted. "I'll hold them off. You have to destroy the weapon." Alex turned to her, his face filled with panic. "No. We do this together." But Lyra only smiled, a sad, knowing smile. "This is the only way," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "The weapon must be destroyed, and I'll make sure you can do it." Lyra rushed toward the door, engaging the Vrexian soldiers with incredible speed and agility. She fought like a warrior possessed, buying Alex the precious moments he needed to access the core's control panel. He could feel the heat of battle rising, but he focused on his task. With trembling hands, Alex began to input the shutdown sequence. But time was running out. The Vrexian's forces were closing in on Lyra. She was holding her ground, but the odds were against her. Alex could hear the sound of gunfire and the screams of battle, but he didn't look up. He had to finish what they started. The console beeped as the shutdown sequence was completed. Alex reached for the final button that would deactivate the superweapon. The ship trembled as the countdown began. But just as the weapon started to deactivate, a Vrexian soldier got the drop on Lyra. She was struck down in a brutal blow, her body crumpling to the ground. Alex felt his heart stop for a moment as he watched her fall. He couldn't believe it, Lyra, his closest ally, his friend, was gone. "No!" Alex shouted, his voice breaking as he looked at her lifeless body. But there was no time for grief. With a final, desperate push, Alex hit the final button, and the AI superweapon went dark. The massive explosion that followed tore through the mothership, sending shockwaves through the ship and shaking the very foundations of space. The weapon was gone. But the cost had been unimaginable. Lyra was dead, and many others had fallen in the battle. The Vrection mothership exploded in a fiery ball of light, the stars around it flickering as the light from the explosion spread across the sky. With the destruction of the mothership, the remaining Vrection forces were in disarray. Their superweapon was no longer a threat, and their fleet, without leadership, began to retreat. The remaining forces of Earth, battered but not broken, watched as the enemy ships vanished into the darkness of space. Humanity had won, but at a terrible cost. Back on Earth, the people watched in awe as the news of their victory spread. Humanity, once seen as a fledgling species in the galaxy, had proven their strength. The destruction of the Vrection fleet marked the end of their reign and the beginning of a new era for Earth. The human race was no longer a mere player on the galactic stage. They were now a force to be reckoned with. But as the celebrations began and the rebuilding of Earth started, a dark shadow loomed over the victory. A figure, cloaked in darkness, stood alone in a distant galaxy, watching the aftermath of the battle. Their face remained hidden, but their voice echoed through the silence. Humanity's power is just starting to awaken. We'll be watching you. The words sent a chill down the spines of those who heard them. The war against the Vrections was over, but the true fight had just begun. Humanity's strength, once seen as a weakness, was now its greatest weapon, and it was only a matter of time before others would try to claim it. As Alex looked up at the stars, he knew the galaxy would never be the same again. And neither would Earth. The battle for survival was over, but the future of the human race was still uncertain. Whatever lay ahead, one thing was clear: humanity had proven that they were no longer to be underestimated.